Good evening, Free Enterprise fans. Welcome. We got another group stage match tonight for the Carbuncle group. We have JDP versus Castro. I'm Prof. Corey. I'm joined by my brilliant co-commentator, Dijon Ketchup. Dijon, we have the objectives up on the screen. What jumps out at you?
I mean, it's all pretty much different bosses spread out across the universe, as John Lennon might say. Did John Lennon write that one? Was that a Paul song?
Let's assume the answer is yes. I'm
Okay.
comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We have a lot of boss spots to go to, which means A, we really only need underground access and a darkness crystal to finish this seed. And B, we have some tough boss spots that we got to go through to get to the end. The Queen of the Town of Monsters and Cave Bahamut. That jump out is pretty rough areas if you're not well prepared.
Yeah. Depending on what you got in that Cave Bahamut or the Queen of the Town of Monsters, the Ashura spot down in the Fame Arch.
I always enjoy the names that the racers pick out. I'm liking what JDP's got going on with Bursk, Spoonie, Level 1 Light. This is good stuff.
These are pretty good names going on there. I'm assuming there's a theme to Castro's side, but
Chad is telling us that it's Luffy names. That's a series that I haven't gotten around to yet, but some members of the Free Enterprise community like that series a lot. So that's enough evidence to me that I should probably give it a go.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list of prohibitively expensive things to play sometime.
One thing that's going to help out with these tough bosses is that we are getting that edge start. That is always nice. That means that the overworld should be relatively free out. Looks like we are getting started now. We'll be able to see who our second character and first item are.
Thunderbirds are go. That's Iridia.
That's a pan.
Ooh. And one of the Baron bosses is either going to be Rubicant or Elements, I believe.
One big question will be, which of these slower spots do the runners dive into? Because like we were talking about before, we don't need that many key items to actually finish this seed, which means that if a place like Baron is an option for you, it's sort of a toss-up. Do you dive in there looking for that darkness crystal, or do you say, that's slow, I'm going to try to check somewhere else?
Definitely. So, as the runners head off to their first locations, looks like JDP is going straight for the free characters in Mysidia.
I'm always interested in the differences between how routers route out the very start of the game. I don't think there's really a locked down set path that people are really tied into. Some people go for those free characters. We see Punch Mage and Punch Mage. Is that what that's shortened to? Yang and Yang in Mysidia. I like that they're named Punch Mage considering where we found them.
Double Yang all the way across the seed. What does it mean? And Castro kind of peeked at the Baron Inn. There's Iridia there. Looks like he's going to fade that check for right now.
Makes sense. We've already got one Iridia in the party. If it shapes up where Reflex Strats are the way to go, maybe you're interested in that second Iridia. Also probably just interested in powering up a little bit more before we hit that Baron Inn spot.
Castro's finding the twin karate boys himself. And it looks like JDP did a little bit of looting in on his way to get the hovercraft. And there should be a free item here as well. Did I say free item? I meant free character.
Not just any character. We got the Quake Kid himself, Palom. That's a good addition to the party. We're now probably set on black mages. It's just a matter of whether we want more. But between Palom and Rydia, we can handle a lot of situations. One nice thing is that Rydia is going to give us early access to that warp glitch whenever we do get around to Dwarf Castle. Palom takes him a little bit longer to get there.
There's another Yang over in the cave.
Sensing a theme.
Hopefully they'll find some claws along the way.
It's fun to see so many Yangs, and maybe that this will lead to the rare situation where we're actually sort of compelled to keep one around. In these group seed flags, where there's not a lot of reason to have Yang. Edge is a very accessible, readily findable character. You can usually find a Kane and plenty of gear for him. T Wildish, we usually find plenty of gear for our other melee fighters. So Yang is pretty widely considered to be the worst melee fighter. You really need a lot of levels to get him going, so most of the time you don't take him to the end of the seed. But with so many, we might not have a choice.
And Castro took a peek at who was in the bed, and it was an Edward. So, if he finds the Sand Ruby, he can claim a Bedward, maybe as an anchor late game, or...
Always nice to have an emergency Edward available to pick up on short notice.
JDP finding an evil wall down in the Antlion Cave.
Pretty good spot to find the evil wall. There's certainly way worse places to run into it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a very early game spot, so it's not going to be the kind of long drawn out fight that it normally would be, and it's already down. Getting a lot of levels on that side.
Ooh, we are already in jet territory. Magma key found. Already have access to 2 of our objectives. Now it's just a matter of how are we going to get strong enough to deal with them.
Yeah, especially that Ashura spot. So, it'll be interesting to see what the next move is.
One notable omission from all the characters so far is we don't really have a white mage yet. Plenty of black magic, plenty of punching power, but not a lot in the way of healing. It might make things tough if an option doesn't present itself.
But for now, only trust your fists. And it looks like Castro's trailing right behind into the Antlion Cave as well. Gonna find underground access early on too. I mean, it would be odd for anyone to fade the Antlion Cave this early on in the game. It's a pretty standard early game check.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense to get this one knocked out right away. JDP, unsurprisingly, with the pan in hand, is going to go straight underground, get the one-stop Ghoul Castle check. Go over there, get the Gauntlet and Sheila 1 and 2 after we've bonked Yang number 4, although he can't help us out other than being the victim of our...
that Yang is just for decoration.
Exactly.
Looks like he's gonna check the shop first. And maybe we'll see a job dwarf.
Maybe. He does have reason to go to that back area. The seed is so fast that that both runners are probably still looking for looting opportunities.
Hourglass is intense. That's not a bad shop.
Yeah, just gotta find the cash for it. There it is.
Flight Control Administrator. Seed validated in under 10 minutes.
Wow. The irony is deep here for me. This is my first time on the comms, but I deal with airplanes in my real life, so it's quite serendipitous.
Nice. Got a magma key on Castro's side, and JDP's gonna go check the Fey March. I can't imagine he'd be at the point where he could take on the boss there, but probably at least see what we're dealing with. But at the very least, he'll also find a free key item check down here. Oh, he did pick up a silk whip, though. That'll be good to hold on to.
Yeah, always nice to find at least one of those. Stardust Rod in the rat tail chest. Real good for one of our black mages, but not offering any progression right away. There's an important find. Sirens in the shop. Now, those were always accessible. Edge could have stolen them from the Tower of Zot from the alerts, or rather Lower Babel, but that would be much slower than just buying them. One consideration, though, if the runners can't find enough money to get all the sirens they want, may be worth saving that money to pick up like those hourglasses that we saw, and instead steal the sirens. It'll be interesting to see what they choose.
Yeah, and I mean, it's early yet, so there's a good chance that he's gonna have to come back here anyway to actually fight the queen slot, so he'll have more money then, I'm sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. Maybe you buy just enough to get by early, power up outside, and then when you come back, you're strong enough to deal with the queen. That'd be one way to go about it. There's for sure some options.
Castro also heading underground. Going straight for the Dwarf Castle, though.
Very interesting. I wonder if he's going to just peek at the bosses or peek at the shop, or actually try to give this a go and knock that objective out early.
So was that an antlion?
I think that was Viking. Oh, nope. Antlion. Oh, I'm sorry. We're looking at different things. I was looking at the Dwarf boss.
Oh, gotcha. I was looking at the Ashura slot. Yeah, Antlion and Queen is not the best.
Again, the lack of white mages a really big factor there. That Antlion gets a lot better if you can get blinks on your party, but we don't have that ability right now.
Castro's gonna go deep into the castle to do some looting. I mean, at this stage, you know, looting's not the worst idea. But, you know, other than getting that magma key, we've seen our runners going in two pretty different directions so far.
Crystal armor. It's a lot of cash, but it's not progression.
Nope, but we do have a couple of free checks now. Next time he goes up to the overworld, which it looks like he's headed for right now.
get the 3-in-1 special at Fabul. Flurry, thank you for the raid. Folks that are just joining the race, welcome. Looks like we got a pretty fast one here. We got a lot of boss spots, meaning we don't need a lot of key items to finish this up, and we already have underground access and the ability to complete 2 objectives.
Looks we're going JDP is gonna take on the Fabul slot while he's here. You know, again, makes sense. Oh. That's a pretty simple boss.
One quick flame wipes them out. The officer yells attack to nobody in particular. And we'll probably make a hasty retreat pretty soon.
Indeed.
Berserk now giving us a reminder in the chat. Thank you so much to our restream crew. Gambit on the restream. Sheep Launcher handling the tracking for us tonight. Make sure to give them a follow.
Absolutely. Oh, and there's the hook.
Hard to imagine we're going to be taking advantage of that. But who knows? Maybe, actually, you know, now that I think about it, there is a character hiding in there.
There's always that free character in that underground path. And Sheila's gonna give up a Gaia drum.
The spoon.
And the spoon.
Oh, interesting. All right, so we do know Edward exists in this seed.
Mm-hmm.
So that spoon could have implications. That's a very good point.
Yeah, only Castro checked to see who was in the bed. But of course, all that only matters if they find the sand ruby.
Also true.
Castro doing those same checks down in the Fey March. Got some interesting stuff in the Baron shop.
JDP did skip looting Baron. He went straight to the city at the start of the seed, so he's getting that done now. And I think he's going to have a crack. Yep, there it is. The
use the
fight.
spark roll. There's the nope rope.
Both good and bad to see here. Probably mostly good that you don't have to deal with it elsewhere, but it does whittle down the party to half health before we see what the next part of this fight is. If it's something rude, that could be a problem.
Yeah, if the next one is not all that great, you're looking at the CPU with like half health here.
So much percent HP damage at this particular location.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Right away hitting the main CPU core with a dart. Edge's Dart, one of the best ways to deal with this boss fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy kind of goes into fighting this boss because of, you know, you don't want to kill the 2 smaller orbs first, or you risk the glow 199, or whatever the number is. There's a number on it.
We might be about to see that attack right now. It chose to bust out the Stardust, which was a lot of damage. but it also took out the attacker ore, which means CPU will hit us with that counterattack.
And Castro, on the other side, is doing some egg grinding. Pretty early on in the seed for it. Oh, a convenient place for the Baron key.
This means that JDP has a lot of different options. Do you check out that Baron key now? Do you try to pick up those sirens and get a grind in? Go to the dwarf castle. The tower key is available. Mount Ordeals. There's a lot of different directions we can go. The seat's really opened up.
Yeah. So that egg fight over on Castro's side actually a pretty good use of time because it's so early. You kind of get a lot of levels out of that, and he had Hourglass too. So he's able to stop the egg from hatching while he wailed on it. Because normally you hit it once and then the yellow dragon comes out.
Yeah, it's an important little bit of tech to deal with those early egg grinds. Hourglasses are great, or if you have access to the stop spell, something to just pause it while your currently weak characters beat on it. I like the difference in styles that we're seeing here. JDP is trying to knock out the objective checks as fast as possible, whereas Castro slowed down, took the time to do the grind, made a couple more shop checks. So they're technically behind in terms of checking out their objectives. They haven't been to Fabul yet, but they are stronger too. We'll have to see if it pays off in the long run.
Yeah, presumably he will be on his way to Fabul soon because he just hit Yang with the pan underground. And we'll find out which of those bosses JDP is about to find that we saw at the beginning. Now it's Elements. So it was not the leg, but it is partially leg.
One quarter leg.
And taking down that Elements fight on the second phase.
So JDP's taking the time to do a little bit more looting. I'd be surprised if he runs all the way to the Odin spot right now, but he does want to get a little bit more treasure before he leaves the Baron Castle. Makes sense.
Man.
Notably found another Stardust Rod, which means that both Black Mages are now working with premium equipment.
Edge with the Morasame.
Yeah, this turned out to be a pretty lucrative jaunt into the eastern part of Baron Castle. There's a lot of good stuff here that'll power him up for the rest of the run.
Yeah, not dipping into that Odin spot just yet. Of course, I think we still gotta take care of the king first.
And who has usurped the throne today? With a purple robe, some variation of mine.
Oh. It's Mylon and his buddies. So, this is a pretty simple fight. You just want to make sure to kill the four gas before you kill Mylon, because
they get upset.
Yeah, they get real punchy. but Mage's Fire pretty much wiped them all out, so...
Mylon is one of those fights where you want to take care to limit the amount of weak attacks that you throw at it, because they ultimately just end up wasting a lot of time. Not only are you taking the time for that character to do an attack, then Mylon also counters everything with that Lit 1 spell, the fight can really drag on. So it's one where you definitely want to focus on sending your biggest punches into the boss and letting everybody else just kind of hang out.
Castro picked up his Sheila checks. And he knows that there's an Edward in the bed. A bedward.
There's the white mage. JDP now has level 1 white added to the party. That's a big deal for a variety of reasons. Certainly makes some of those harder boss spots a little bit more accessible.
Yeah, seems like he almost dismissed her. And of course, overriding a Yang.
Sorry, Yang.
Castro doing a bit of setup on his party.
Found a Luca key after the Baron cutscene. It is a key item. Does get us closer to that magical number 10, where we get double experience and grinds speed up a lot. But pretty unlikely that we're going to end up diving down into that cave with the warp glitch available. After the Dwarf Castle bosses are defeated, Black Mage can cast Warp and pop right back into the room. For some reason, the developers of this game use the same room for the crystal room at the end of the sealed cave as they did for the room behind the Dwarf Castle throne. So you can pop back in there and sequence break, grabbing that item before you're supposed to be able to. Very important tech for the vanilla speedrun, and an important tech for these flags as well.
Yep, just one of the quirks of programming a 16-bit game and trying to make as much advantage of the limited space you have. But we see Castro taking on Bagan at the first Dwarf Castle spot.
Punching pretty hard. Fortunately, we have Castro has Quake, so that's a great spell to have when you're fighting Bagan. But Rydia took one punch and went straight down Palom, in similarly bad shape.
And looks like JDP gonna be right behind. And also diving into the Dwarf Castle. Although it looks like he's gonna go exploring the back half of the castle.
It's a big question on these flags. When do you stop looting? I will admit that I'm an over looter. I see a treasure chest, I open the treasure chest. This is just how I am. But if you want to go fast, at some point you have to tell yourself, I have enough.
Well, that was a DKC being quickly turned down by Castro as he takes on Valvalis. And without a cane without a cane to jump on her, it's gonna be interesting fight. But...
Yeah, it's a little bit slower. Fortunately, this boss spot is one of the ones where Valvalis can be hit pretty easily. The Golbez fight is mostly free, not heavy on the stats. So
yeah,
Castro able to
and
take
she's
her out
down.
pretty easy.
And JDP walking into the crystal room right as Castro's leaving.
Oh wow, it breaks out the spoon for this fight. It's very interesting. It will take out Baigan very quickly, but it's also a premium item that can really do a lot of damage in some tough boss spots.
Amusingly, left arm got left behind. Castro getting the tower key from the warp glitch.
That's a great find. That gives some pretty obvious progression on where to go next, I think.
Particularly since he's already underground. And a protect ring from Dwarf Castle itself. So, that warp glitch can be disabled or enabled based on the flags, and the group stage is using the flag for that warp glitch. But if I'm correct, after we get past the group stage, it will be disabled, and you can't do that anymore.
Indeed, one of several ways the bracket, or rather the table flags is made more difficult over the group flags.
And I didn't see which shop Castro's in, but I did see Star Veils. Oh, and he bought a Sylph.
Chicken and Mysidia.
Yeah.
We brought up the table flags. I think this is probably a good time to discuss what's at stake, both in this round and just in the group flags or group stage in general. In the Carbuncle group, which Castro and JDP are part of, along with Xenocat and Kedril, nobody has won or lost enough to be set on where they're going. If a runner finishes 3-0 in their group, they beat all 3 other people, they get a free pass straight to the tables. 2-1 gets you into the Magma stage, which is the easier of the remaining paths, and any other result puts you into the Hook route, which if you've played Free Enterprise, you know that that's generally the hardest way to go, the fewest opportunities to make it to tables from there. So that's what these guys are playing for right now. They're trying to make it into Magma Group, and JDP actually even has an opportunity if he can go 3-0 to skip past everything.
JDP also doing the double dip with warp. And Castro obviously took the hint to take the tower key and go straight to the tower. So, no keyless tower strats tonight, but, you know, when you can do all of tower at once.
Makes sense. We got our latest lunar sparkle here at the top of the tower. Let's see what Castro's going to have to deal with.
Ooh. Wyvern's always fun. At least he's got Star Veils. Oh, but not fast enough.
They might have just been a little bit off with that run buffering. If you do it too soon, you actually end up hurting yourself. You give the boss more time to act instead of yourself. So the timing's a little bit tight when you're trying to hit it.
It's a very weird timing. You kind of have to, like, work with it, and presumably, I'm assuming that he's got his battle speed set to 1, which makes the whole thing even faster to pull off.
We can turn it down. He also equipped that curse ring onto the Yang in the middle slot. That's gonna.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely help the.
This boss spot also does not have incredibly high magic power. I think it is technically possible to dodge or survive a Mega Nuke at this spot, if I'm remembering correctly. It's still going to be a tough fight if only one of the Yangs is left standing. But it might be worth waiting to see the damage after that Mega Nuke gets cast.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like JDP got one of the trap chests.
Yeah, there's several alert trap chests throughout the tower. Lots of opportunities to find good loot very easily. Often those alerts can be one-shot. Looks like Castro's getting multiple star veils off. Should set himself up for the rest of this fight pretty well.
Yeah, Castro way outspeeding Wyvern this time. Only losing 2 party members, so not bad.
Now the rest of this fight becomes a race. How quickly can you pick party members back up after Wyvern bounces those nukes onto them?
Looks like he might just be leaving one of the Yangs down.
Oh, I love this strat. Going for the Sylph strats. He's going to cast the summon spell, which is going to provoke a counter Mega Nuke, which is going to bounce right back and hit Wyvern for more damage. This is a great way to get through this fight quickly.
That's a pretty good strat.
My version of this strat is to cast Sylph and forget that it counters with Mega Nuke, and then die. It's less effective than what Castro is doing, generally.
Yeah, JDP went for the locked door first and found Odin, which was no match. And Castro took out Wyvern. Oh, and there's the Sand Ruby, so he can get an Edward if he wants. And like I said before, he might grab it late in the game to use as a agility anchor for the Z fight.
Now the problem, I believe, is that Castro is the one that threw his spoon already, right? He threw that at Bigan,
Yeah.
so that's not going to be an option for him, unfortunately. But Edward could still be useful for other things, but we'll unfortunately not see spoon on his side of the race.
Castro having no trouble with Odin either.
After a little discussion in chat, we have sorted out a little bit with the records. Castro actually has played 2 races. He played Kedril in the first race and Xenocat in the second. So he is 0-2. So we did get that corrected. He's not out of the tournament. He will still have opportunities in the hook round, and he has an opportunity to play spoiler here for JDP.
Thanks, chat, for keeping us honest. Let's see how JDP deals with the Wyvern. He's also got Star Veils. And he's got to get at least 1 off. Well, just the 1, though.
Just starts swinging.
Ooh. That did not go well.
On Castro's side, we have a pass from the Tower Key reward that could be handy. Actually, we technically should not have to dive into the lunar subterranean, so very good chance that both our runners will be taking advantage of the pass.
Yeah, the only possibility of needing to dive into the lunar subterranean would be if Legend Sword and or Adamant are in there, but you know, if they do the other 3 objectives instead, which one they've already completed. Chat's saying JDP is actually the one who darted with the spoon.
Thank you for the correction, chat. I do appreciate that. I'll admit that I was uncertain. So I appreciate the heads up there. So that does change things. Castro with the Sand Ruby and a spoon in hand could. And right, of course, they point the Castro doesn't have the barrage.
Though he's on his way to getting it.
Yep, that's right. Ooh, a little unfortunate. Didn't heal up, meaning that this Ogo Pogo actually will take out a couple party members.
Yeah, JDP turned his battle speed all the way down to 6, and still seems to be having a bit of trouble.
I did not catch whether JDP found the curse ring like Castro did. That was really helpful for Castro in getting through the fight. If he doesn't have that, it does complicate things. Just to give a quick primer on why curse rings are useful, in case anyone wasn't aware, curse rings drop all your stats by 15. Prof. Cordy, I hear you say. That sounds terrible. Why would you want that? Well, turns out that for certain rude bosses, and especially later game bosses, having a 1 agility character in the middle slot is great to anchor the rest of your party. It helps their relative agility be higher, giving you more and faster turns against the bosses. Castro was able to take advantage of that by giving a Yang a cursed ring, which let 3 of his party members get Star Veils off, whereas JDP does not appear to have that same luxury, and in fact it looks like he's going to walk out and leave that Wyvern behind.
Yeah, he took another wipe. So, if he doesn't end up completing that Wyvern spot, he's going to be missing out on a Sand Ruby, which we know what the character is, so it's not a huge loss. And the pass, which means that he would have to go through the lunar subterranean to get to Threemus at the end.
Yeah, won't stop him from finishing the game, but it does slow him down.
And over on Castro's side, he peeked the Mist Cave boss spot, and it was D-Lunar, so he reset out of that one real quick. Oh, JDP actually getting the pass.
Yep, chat once again helpfully correcting us here. Pass is the Tower Key reward, not the Wyvern reward. The Wyvern reward is the Sand Ruby.
For some reason, I do the 2 together most of the time, so I always forget that you don't need to do both to get that reward. You just have to do the Tower Key.
Same
so yes, he does have the pass. And JDP gonna stop and do some egg grinding. Probably trying to boost levels up so he can get that Wyvern.
Depending on how much grinding he does, he may also opt to go back into the Fame March and try to get that Ashura spot taken care of, since it is a required objective.
Right. Because while we know that the Sand Ruby is hiding behind the Wyvern, JDP doesn't know this yet. So, for all he knows, it could be the darkness crystal back there.
It's always stressful when you try a key item location and you can't do it, and you have to leave it behind. Especially one that's like, it takes so much time to get to. You have to climb all the way back to the top of the tower. That certainly is going to weigh on his mind. Sheep Launcher helpfully suggesting that you shouldn't be able to get the Super Cannon reward unless you sacrifice Yang. 100% agree. I think we should all go into the suggestions channel on the Free Enterprise Discord. Rivers McCown will greatly appreciate the feedback on future features for the Free Enterprise Randomizer.
Remember, if enough of you say it, they can't ignore it. Castro getting his free Edward once he can find where the Sand Ruby is. So... and he's replacing a Yang.
It's 2 Yangs that have been lost. Will the third one remain in the party? Good call by Castro, getting a quick back road glitch done for Edward. It's not something you think about the vast majority of the time, but when he wields the mighty spoon, you want to give him every advantage possible to make sure he can really dish out the damage. Especially having him being able to sit in the back row and still do full damage is important. He is by far the squishiest fighter when he has that particular piece of gear.
Yeah, so for those unaware, what the back row glitch is if you're in the back row, you basically take like a penalty on attack. But if you have a ranged weapon equipped, it will increase your attack back up. And when they made the game, they programmed it for the flag to go on, but they never programmed it to remove the flag. So once you've put a ranged weapon on someone in the back row, you can remove it and put any weapon, and you don't get the attack penalties. So it's a pretty simple and easy glitch you can do.
As you said, the bit era programmers, sometimes things get overlooked. Although, actually, if I'm being fair, games of all eras have bugs in them. There's certainly many worse than the back road glitch. Gambit in the chat makes a good point. Edward actually does come back road. His heart is a ranged weapon already, so technically it wasn't necessary to go through the process of equipping a bow and then back to the other weapon. But you know what? It's good practice. A helpful technique that every free enterprise runner should know.
JDP taking on the Queen Antlion. Holding his own all right so far.
Those magic spells are really going to be key to getting through this. Any regular fight command will provoke a counter, but darts will not result in a counter. The power command from Yang will not result in a counter, and spells will not result in a counter. It's just the fight command. So anything that he can do to avoid those counters is going to make this fight a lot easier.
And Castro doing some grinding on his side. But as we're watching these battles, just another big note about Edward is the spoon is an item in the vanilla game, but it cannot be equipped by any character. It's simply meant to be thrown. Due to the rather flavorful text in the original translation, Edward is a spoony bard, so in the making of the randomizer, they decided to turn that into a weapon for Edward and give him a bit of a use.
Yeah, that's an excellent point that you're making. I appreciate all the many little Easter eggs and ins and outs and in-jokes that come with Free Enterprise. It's one of my favorites for sure.
I think it's appropriate you called it an Easter egg while there was an egg on the screen.
I'll pretend I did it on purpose.
Anyway, Antlion's HP ran out and gave JDP a rat tail.
It's another key item check. It's possible the darkness crystal will be hiding on that island.
And of course, that was one of the objectives. Okay, so, let me get this straight. It's part ant and part lion, but you get a rat tail from it.
Correct. I see nothing amiss with this situation.
Just, I don't know. Just seems like a bit of an odd creature. And they made this thing their queen, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clearly quite powerful. If the Queen Antlion was bossing me around, I would be inclined to listen.
Looks like JDP gotta take on King Karate. The Karate King? Isn't the Karate King like a movie or something?
Close. Remove a couple letters, add a D to the end, and you get there.
Okay, so Karate Inged?
Correct.
Okay.
Got
Karate
it in
Inged.
one.
Gotcha.
The punch man himself, Yang number 5, much more powerful than his counterpart sitting in the bed with the sylphs. A little bit too much for JDP's party to handle right now. There is an easy way out of that fight, but neither of our runners has access to that. What's the fast way for you, Karate?
So, if you have a Paladin Cecil, after Yang does, I want to say it's 2 kicks, you can just attack him with Cecil and he'll say ouch and die.
Yep, it's the script that plays out when you fight Karate in the Baron Inn as a way to speed things up rather than going through all 4,000 health. The Earth Crystal on JDP's side, the chain continues.
And that Rat Tail to Earth Crystal, checkmate.
At the very least, this does give JDP access to the invaluable Troya Treasury, which means that it's time to play one of our favorite games in this particular tournament, which is Rate the Troya Treasury. I'm going to go 8 out of 10 right now. Before I see any treasure, I'm calling my shot.
I'm gonna call it pie.
I like it.
A lot of empty chests.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
There's a Zeus Gauntlet.
Crystal Ring has some good
Crystal Ring has
applications.
potential.
Edge likes that ninja shirt. I don't think I was right. I don't think 8 out of 10 is quite there.
No.
I think you pointed out the big thing. There are just a lot of empty chests in that room. We are on sparse 60, meaning that 60% of the chests have treasure and the other 40% are empty as a way to balance out the looting economy, if that makes sense. But that room we JDP low rolled a little bit, definitely more than 60%, or correction, 40% of the chest empty.
Yeah, and then you've also got the trapped chests that are spread throughout the world. So the trapped chests they hold generally more powerful things, and there's a certain number, like there's a set number in each area. Like there's, I think, one in the pathway to the Fey March.
Yep, the soldier's test.
And it's random which chest that's going to be. But it'll say monsters when you check it, and you'll get into an encounter.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think you're right that that's an underrated factor. The number of trap chests is not reduced. It does make looting certain places more perilous when you're really trying to get every chest you can, but you know that instead of 1 out of 10 chests or whatever, the trap chest is going to be 1 out of 6.
Castro going for illusion strats, having Edge increase his evasiveness to physically attack the Antlion and try to be missed by the counters. JDP fighting the Leviathan in the Tower of Zot. Just one of the quirky misspellings in the Final Fantasy IV SNES script.
Castro picking up his rat tail, turning his battle suit back up. That tells me that he is on his way out. Probably going to check that, find his Earth Crystal, follow just a few minutes behind JDP. One crucial difference: Castro has not yet made that Baron check, and he has not yet found his White Mage. I know that I keep harping on this, but I really think that this is important as we get closer and closer to the end game. He was able to sort of substitute a White Mage in the form of those illusions. That was a great call. But the Threemus fight is going to be tough without reliable healing. It does have Ashura. That is sort of reliable healing, but it's not a true substitute.
And JDP coming across a Tella and another Rydia in Tower of Zot. Probably not going to take either of them.
Right you are. Leaves them both behind.
Castro also gonna attempt the Karate Ink.
There's that silk web trying to slow it down. Spoonwork, really doing a lot of work. Hitting really hard. That's gonna be some crucial damage to get through here.
And then JDP fighting the guard fight. Casting Stone on them, which is an automatic KO.
Yeah, certain quote-unquote bosses in this game do not have the boss fit. They are coded as regular enemies, meaning that they're susceptible to various status effects, and that was a great example of how you can use those to wrap up a fight much more quickly than normal.
Oh, and there's the Legend Sword.
Alright, it seemed like forging the Excalibur was an unlikely path to victory, but finding that Legend Sword does make it a little bit more likely. Also important to note, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 key items. On JDP's side, he is now in double experience territory.
He's about to find that D-Lunar spot and not gonna fight. Doesn't need to.
Meanwhile, on Castro's side, is also finding Karate to be a formidable foe, and chooses to leave and pursue other opportunities.
Yeah, Karate's one of those bosses where you can kind of get a bit more overwhelmed than you thought you might. Because a lot of times you don't expect it to be like that big of a fight because it's just Yang.
It's what happens when you give Yang a sword. That's why he's not allowed to equip swords when he's part of your party. He becomes too powerful. It's unbalanced.
Yeah, can we get the pan back from Sheila?
To answer a question in the chat, did Castro never take a white mage? I'm sure that when he finds the sole white mage in this seed so far, he will take her. But Porin is inside Baron Castle and he has not yet made that check.
Question in chat is Karate required? We're not 100% sure on that. It's not one of the objectives, but for all we know, it could be holding the Darkness Crystal or the Adamant Rock.
Yeah, right now, spots that JDP has left to check is Karate. We don't know what Karate has. The Baron Basement, the Odin spot, also still available to check.
It looks
And
like
of course,
he was... Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, it looked like he was trying to find the D-Mist fight when he dipped into the Mist Cave and the Waterfall Cave.
We were on the exact same page. I was going to say the same thing. There's also a Mist Dragon lurking somewhere, but it does seem like JDP's exhausted all those possibilities.
Yeah, so since we have the no free items flag on, oh, yeah, Sheep Launcher saying that Castro reset out of beating the Ant Lion, so he's got to do it again.
That's right, didn't take a save.
But with the no free, as I was saying, with the no free items flag on, it moves that key item to Beridia's mom, and to be able to get that, you have to first defeat the D-Mist boss fight wherever it is. So, if you can find the D-Mist and defeat it, then that's a free check for you. So, JDP probably was looking for that to try and get that check out of the way. See, we're also... So besides Yang, we also haven't seen any of the bosses on Ordeals. No one has gone up there.
It's a good point. That is a time sink, although the levels that they have now, the bosses should not pose any issue. It's just a matter of, do you want to take that time? Do you want to commit to fading Mount Ordeals? Just say, like, you know what? No matter what, it's going to be the last thing that I do.
We also haven't seen... I don't think anyone went up Mount Hobbs. And nobody has taken the hook route. So, there's still a lot of boss checks out there, as well as a few key item checks. As far as we know, JDP doesn't have the cursed ring.
At the very least, it doesn't seem like he took advantage of it when he was trying to fight Wyvern. That's another thing that I forgot about. He actually didn't complete the Wyvern fight. He might still be thinking that he needs to go back up there to finish that.
Right, which, as we know, is the Sand Ruby, so it's, dead end. No. We have not found the package yet. So if anyone finds the package, that's another character check.
So far, the seat's been a lot of fun. I always enjoy the twist where it looks like it's going one speed. You know, the seat was looking really jetty, really fast at first, but all of a sudden it's kind of come to a screeching halt. As it turns out, the progression is much more elusive than we first thought.
Yeah, so with that magma key being very early at the antlion spot, you know, and 2 of the objectives being underground, it seemed like it was going to be a fast one, but you know, now we're
Castro once again completes the antlion fight. Certainly will take a save at this point.
Yeah.
Once again gets his rat tail.
And then if he turns that rat tail in, it'll get him access to Sod with that earth crystal.
Looks like JDP's wrapped up the grind. His mages are more or less online, have access to those powerful capstone spells that really turn them into powerhouses and boss-killing machines, and right away he is ready for round 2 against Karate.
Yeah, JDP has buffed up and is ready to punch a karate guy. Yeah, if at first you don't succeed, grind some levels and try again.
Tried and true strategy.
Someone in chat asking, you know, why there's hate for Ordeals play, and probably the reason they haven't gone for Ordeals is, you know, 3 bosses for only 1 key item check. There's only been 1 Cecil, and that was in the Dwarf Castle, and they both turned it down. And since they had underground access from the very beginning, it wasn't really necessary for progress.
Yeah, lots of other places to check. I also wonder if there's maybe a little bit of metagaming going on. You know, if you're playing this seed and you realize how fast it's looking, but then you get to this point and the other racer hasn't finished yet, then you're thinking like, well, the darkness crystal must be someplace really hard, right? If it was on Ordeals, the other person might be done already. Maybe it's a little early for some. It did not done, but I know that I might be thinking that at this point. Maybe I should be checking the harder places rather than the easy one if I'm metagaming myself. The irony here, of course, being that neither of them has gone up it, so that would be a poor assumption.
Yeah, so not even we know what's going on up there.
Quad 9s from the Nuke Kid.
Yeah, that's very nice. So keep that up enough and should be able to take the karate spot out. The karate aimed.
Cary Grant in the chat says Nuke Kid on the block. Cary Grant? Yes. That is correct. I approve. Alright, karate down. Finally get a chance to see what's hiding at this key item spot.
Oh, that's the darkness crystal.
That is go mode for JDP.
Yeah, that is... Ooh.
JDP's already got the grind done. Might just go up to the moon, knock out Cave Bahamut, fly right back, take that pass, and try to wrap up this seed. That's really all he has left to do.
Yeah, so Castro is gonna have to go back and defeat that Yang unless he goes and turns the rat tail in to get the Earth Crystal and does Zot to get the Legend Sword, and then find the Adamant Rock to go with it.
Judge Infinius in the chat notes, but I thought hashtag never Fame March. I think that's actually a great point. It's turned out on this seed, which seemed incredibly fast at the start, that you had to not only defeat the queen at the Town of Monsters, one of our objectives, but also the king. Both spots were required to finish this seed. Actually, that might not technically be true. It's possible the Adamant is somewhere.
Yeah, the Adamant could still be on Earth somewhere. It could be, like I said, it could be at Ordeals. Although, I'm gonna laugh if JDP... Well, no. Do you get a key item from... you get a key item from Bahamut, right?
Okay, Bahamut, yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna laugh if he does it and then it's the Adamant Rock.
In fact, you always find exactly the key item you need. That's why there's always value in Cave Bahamut.
And that's the real key item. Knowledge. So, of course, JDP going straight for Value Cave.
We discussed before JDP's anchoring situation. That might actually be a factor as we approach the final boss of Final Fantasy IV. I'm curious how he's going to arrange his party. But before that, we have to deal with the Queen of the Town of Monsters. Just in another location.
What? Wow. So we have to defeat the Queen of Town of Monsters slot, but also Cave Bahamut, which has the Queen of Monsters.
Queen of the Moon.
Now, Castro going to the Odin spot and finding a trio of Dark Imps.
Has those hourglasses. It's going to make this free fight. If this is the Adamant, Castro's got a real shot here.
Ashura shouldn't be too rough for JDP to take down.
Does punch pretty hard at this spot, but
and doing the wall strats. Doing the wall strats. So if you are able to put a wall on Ashura, whenever she would heal herself, she heals one of your characters instead. It's one of those fun little strats that you can do. And if you don't have the wall spell, put a Star Veil on, and then use another Star Veil on yourself, and it'll reflect the Star Veil. I have legitimately had to do that on some early game fights against her.
Makes sense. Time to find out what was that Odin. Twin Heart.
Wonder if Castro's gonna go there and we can actually get our music for this scene. This is a very interesting placement. And this is still a decently fast seed because we're only at an hour 12 and JDP is on his third objective and likely going to defeat Ashura.
Yeah, JDP's definitely on pace to finish this sub-hour and a half.
You could say his victory is almost assured against this boss.
You
Quad
could
9.
say that. You could
Quad
say
9.
that, but should you have said that?
Yes, Quad 9. Pink Tail.
3 objectives complete. The sparkly sparkles circle in and grant JDP the crystal.
So JDP, extra go mode. And Castro is hitting up that Cave Magnus. So we may actually get some music. Although the music might overlap with...
Oh yeah, that's right. We have 2 free enterprise traditions colliding at the same time.
Don't cross the memes. You never cross the memes. Alright, well, since music's about to happen, and JDP is about to go to our final fight, there's a question that I believe is a tradition around here.
I don't know which question it is. This too. All right, I know one of them. That question is, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Exactly.
While we wait to find out which butt we're going to kick, we'll also be quiet for a moment and enjoy the soothing tunes of DJ Spoony Bar. Sounds like that was the theme for the ending of Final Fantasy V.
Indeed. I've actually not played that one.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Ooh, Castro resetting out of that dead end, though.
Alright, we have seen the butt. We're dealing with Sakikomus. I will admit, I got nothing here. I have no idea.
Alright, Scala-Kitty, what is this? Scala-Kitty, who's in chat, does a lot of the sprites for Zeromas, so shout-outs to her. Also, she says it's Sachiko from Corpse Party.
Spooky.
I can't say I've ever heard of Corpse Party. Is it anything like Monster Party?
Sounds like maybe not quite the same.
Okay. I tried.
First, Big Bang gets nerfed on JDP's side. Edge almost goes down because he did take the counter nuke, but just barely stays standing to keep up the fight. It'll be interesting to see what JDP goes for. It seems like we're right for hybrid strats here with the even mix of attackers and magic casters, but maybe he'll pull off a little bit and try to get the reflect kill. We'll see what he goes with.
Yeah, it looks a bit hybrid. He does have the Star Veil on Rydia and is bouncing nukes off of it. And it looks like he's using his Porum to use the crystal and trigger a nuke from Threemus, hoping to reflect it.
Also, I think trying to get another nerf before the second Big Bang. Looks like the timing was good. That was only around 1,000 damage. That was very well played. That Ashura coming in with the full party heal. JDP is looking good.
And of course, that heal from Ashura not going to get reflected off of the Star Veil that Rydia has, which a Cure would reflect off of them. Black Hole gonna invalidate that Star Veil, though.
Berserk coming in for the fighters. This definitely looks like full-on hybrid strats. To summarize the different strats, if you got a full team of fighters, you're just looking to berserk people and beat them up. If you got a mix, you're going for hybrid. You're casting those nuke spells, trying to reflect them to avoid receiving the counters from Threemus, while also using your fighter's damage, just trying to whittle Threemus down using every means possible. And if you have a full mage team, you're going for reflect strats. Dijon, why would one go with reflect strats specifically if that was an option?
So, the way Threemus works is if you attack him directly with black magic, he counters with nukes and whatnot. But if you have a Star Veil or wall on and you reflect, nuke or white, generally the two big ones, that some people use virus. If you reflect them onto Threemus, it doesn't trigger that counter. Furthermore, due to the limitations of the game, there's only a certain max allowable value for them to put for hit points. And so they wanted Threemus to have more than that. So once that limit is reached, he just gets a refill. But if you cross that threshold and take his hit points out with a reflected magic attack, it doesn't trigger that refill, and you get a kill like thousands of HP quicker.
We have the flash. JDP is done.
GG's on JDP. I said the winner.
That's alright, I don't think JDP's gonna mind. He is the winner with 121.23 time. Congratulations to JDP, going 1-0 so far in the Carbuncle group.
Definitely congratulations to him.
Looks like we've got JDP joining us in the interviewing booth. JDP, congratulations. How'd you feel about the seat?
Do we have you?
Might still be waiting just to work out some mic issues. We'll get JDP in here as soon as we can. We are getting word that we are going to get a refrain of the music on JDP's side. Once these credits roll, he will go over and let us get another listen to that tune.
Now I can hear you.
Hey.
Ah, there we go. JDP, welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I mean, I was going into this hoping for the perfect 0-3 record, but I ruined it on the first day.
That's all right. I'm sure you'll find a way to get over it somehow.
I'm
So
shaking.
how'd you feel about this seed? At first, it was looking like a pretty fast one, but then you guys ran into some road bumps along the way.
There was a couple of road bumps, but I mean, before I did this seed, I did a couple of practice seeds, and this is actually the fastest seed I've had on this flag set, so...
All right.
Yeah, this
For
was a
me,
very fast seed.
Yeah. The main problems really were the Wyvern, which I noped out of, and just trying to get through Yang there for a while.
Well, you did great.
How did you feel about the lack of a white mage for a while? Was that a concern for you? Did that factor into any of your decisions, such as when to go for Baron Castle?
I mean, I figured eventually there'd be Cure 3s in a shop, if worst case scenario. I had a feeling, just due to the law of averages, Purim is going to show up eventually, which she did. Rosa, nowhere to be seen. At least I didn't see her, so... I mainly took her just as a failsafe for the Zeromus fight. Aside from that, if I had to chemist, it wouldn't have been too bad, I don't think, especially with Yang's HP levels.
Speaking of Yang, he did feature pretty prominently throughout the seed. Found a lot of him early on. Were you committed at some point to keeping him around, even if you found a Kane? Or I guess I should ask the question: at what point did you know that he was going to be a permanent member of your party?
Kane is the second best character in the game, so, you know, pairing him with Edge was a pretty good start, so I didn't feel like I had to get rid of him. I mean, the second Yang I didn't need, so that one got tossed out at the earliest opportunity, but I don't mind keeping him around, even if you get him early. Just, again, he's a tank, so if you need somebody to tank hits so you can get everybody recovered, he's not a bad person to have. The main people I would have potentially gotten rid of was Rydia, just because I never found that much in the way of good stuff for her. I mean, I found a Flame Whip, but without a Bahamut or a Leviathan, she's essentially a doorstop.
Understandable. You did find the Palom early enough where he also had access to that warp glitch, so she didn't even have the advantage there, really.
Once you get Palom, she's essentially just somebody to be tossed away at your earliest convenience. I just never really found anybody I wanted to take instead.
So you now want to know, in the Carbuncle group, still got Xenocat and Kedril ahead of you. How are you feeling about that? How are you feeling about the rest of the competitors in the group?
Well, like I said, some people are gonna scoff this, like, oh, he's being, you know, self-deprecating. But I don't know much about the three people I'm slotted with, so I just expected to get trounced. So I consider my win a fluke, honestly. Whether or not that is true from a skill standpoint, I mean, I haven't raced since the World Series. This is really my return to Free Enterprise, so to speak. So,
wow, well, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm sure both of them are good racers, and I look forward to seeing how they pair up against me, essentially.
Dijon, did you have any other questions for our winner?
So just with the way this seed kind of had everything scattered around quite a bit, and the very early underground access, like, what was sort of your kind of like thought process on, you know, which checks to do first, considering you had pretty much half the game open at the beginning.
Usually when I get a magma key early, I go, well, I might as well go check the Feymarch chest and I can scout the bosses, especially here when one of the bosses was an objective. And I figure whatever you get from the key item spot there with the chest, that will push you in a certain direction. I mean, that's not always the case. You might get like a white shirt or something. But I tend to have the plan of, we'll figure it out afterwards.
Makes sense to me. We will pause a moment and enjoy a little bit more music. Thank you, JDP.
Oh, no worries. Well, I suppose if there's no more questions or anything, I might pop out of here so I can pop into a chat and watch what RN's up to.
Sounds good. Congratulations again,
Right.
JDP.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to seeing your future races. Welcome back.
Thank you. All right. See you later, guys.
It looks like Castro is finally making his way to the karate man behind it all, the one that is hiding that darkness crystal that he needs to get to the end of the seed.
Yeah, and during our interview with JDP, Castro did scale Mount Ordeals and fought Pale Dim, Dark Knight Cecil, and Octomom, and was rewarded with an Excal.
And we know that from JDP's spoiler scroll in the credits that the Adamant is on the moon, so it is not an option for Castro to finish this seed. He does have to defeat Karate at the King of the Town of Monsters.
Yep. So, yep, Yang definitely required for this seed. Gosh, this boss sure kind of became a turning point for this match.
Yeah, both runners made multiple attempts at it, and it's a rough one. He comes in fast and furious with them swings.
Too Yang, too furious. But it is good that both of our runners tonight, didn't give up on him. Basically left, got some more levels, and then came back and, didn't try to fade him entirely. Although at this point, I do think Castro has kind of run out of non-moon checks, unless there's something I'm forgetting.
I think he technically has not dove the hook bosses to see if the Mist Dragon's hiding at the King Benevolent spot. But that's a pretty long shot check, so I would say try to do this before I went with him there.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that D-Mist was either at the hook route or in the sealed cave because they both did the warp glitch to get the key item without encountering the boss.
That's true.
But, you know, it's... Oh! Castro did it. Castro got his Karate Man.
Castro now officially in go mode upon receiving this darkness crystal. Just has to go deal with Ashura up in Cave Bahamut. And the crystal and the means for defeating Threemus will be in his hands.
Go mode. Pew, 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 pew. That was my rap horn impression.
When can we get the free N horn emote?
Somebody put a harp, twin harp song in the game that's just the rap horn over and over. Like a very compressed actual sound clip of the rap horn.
Sheep Launcher, thank you so much. Pointing out, Made Kisses, available for purchase in Tamra. Expert tracker that he is, he asked me beforehand whether there were any items we wanted pointed out in case we missed them, and I asked mallets and Made Kisses. I feel like those are under-discussed in the free enterprise community. Thank you, Sheep Launcher, for keeping us aware of the location of those critical items.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Once again, thank you to the Restream team, Gambit, handling the Restream, Sheep Launcher, taking care of the tracking for us tonight. They've been immensely helpful. They're very good at what they do. Please give them a follow.
And with that, Castro has taken the Darkness Crystal to Mysidia and freed Willie. Because Willie was the whale in that
movie. We're getting a lot of old school kids movie references in this particular broadcast.
I mean, Free Willy came out probably around the same time this game came out.
Makes sense.
And Castro is officially on the moon. Flyer saying 1993. Was that Free Willy, or was that Final Fantasy IV, or was that both?
Why not both?
Why not Zoidberg?
Why
Oh,
not Zoidberg?
Oh, FF4 was 91.
See, you were right. They're basically the same time. 91 and 93 is real close.
So I always think it's weird for SNES games to come out in 91, because that's when it came out over here. Anyway, Castro is fighting the Ashura on the moon. Throwing out the silk web to slow her down.
Thrown out the wall, like you explained before, great strategy to prevent those healing spells from helping the queen of the town of monsters and instead benefiting the party.
Alright, that was a reflected cure 4 for 0. So, funny thing, one of the 3 healing magics that Ashura can use is life. But it can only be reflected onto a character that's alive. Which does no good because they're not on the floor.
Casper's got those blinks up on the critical members of the party, especially that spoon-wielding Edward. I imagine this fight should not be too much longer.
So chat says in the PSP version, her life one can be reflected onto a dead character and then misses. So what you're saying is Ashura. What you're saying is Ashura in the PSP version is Tella.
Ooh. Tough, but fair.
That's an Ashura down. So that's going to be Castro's third and final objective. Giving them a pink tail and a crystal.
Castro surely on his way back to the whale, to the earth. I imagine he probably has the levels at this point. His fighters, at least, are at good levels. So we'll see if he wants to get any more power for his
Looks
mages.
like he's checking the shop on the moon first, though. Oh, Bacchus on the moon.
Oh, that's a good pickup.
Bacchus on the moon. How did it get there?
One of Final Fantasy IV's great mysteries. More importantly, now it's also available in this shop. Very useful for dealing with the size malady.
Also, fortunately, there are no mullets.
Is that fortunately or unfortunately?
It's pretty fortunate that there's no mullets.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, this came out in '92. That was like peak mullet. Looks like he's gonna stock up on Star Veils before he goes. Probably not a bad decision. Skull Kitty saying that Kane kinda has a mullet.
Castro taking the time to check his agility, realizing that curse ring was not doing a lot of good on Yang at this point. Seeing if he has a better setup available.
Do you think Yang's hair counts as a rat tail?
All I know is that I wouldn't say that to his face.
Hallam and Porum have bowl cuts. Chat agreeing that Edge definitely has a mullet.
For sure. What one more suggestion then for the feedback and suggestions channel on the Free Enterprise Discord? Hair randomizers. Can we swap hairdos among the characters? When can we make this happen, board?
That might be a Scala question.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Scala would be the mastermind behind such a feature were it to come to pass.
Anyway, we have an important question to ask. And that question is, who let the dogs out? Wait.
Close. I think, and that is a very good question. I agree with you 100%, but it might not be the question.
Oh. Well, I tried.
I believe in you. I know that within your heart you know the question.
Okay, Scala defending herself, saying she does already give people alternate hair colors, and yes, she does a very great job at that.
That's true. I will never ask more of Scala Kitty. Her contributions to the Free Enterprise randomizer have already been tremendous.
Oh hey, it's Sachiko from Corpse Party.
Oh, good call by you. That's exactly right. As we all know.
So I'm thinking that Castro's also gonna go for a bit of hybrid strats.
Yeah, especially with that spoon word in the party, you don't want to waste that awesome power.
Yeah, he's zerking the spoon.
The one concern I have for his party is that he has some low HP totals on some of his critical members, especially that Porum, sitting at only a little over 1,500. That's well within the territory where an unnerved Big Bang could take her down. Whether he can recover from those situations is going to be important for this fight.
Absolutely. Yep, we've got some reflecting of the nukes going. Oh, quad 9s.
You'll love to see it.
You'd love to see it. Okay, that was a not terrible Big Bang.
Yep, got that first nerf in. Always really important getting this fight started off on the right foot. Especially when you're at really like lower levels where it's you're always hanging on by a thread. Getting that set up right at the beginning, even just making sure you have the right turn order for your party members can really be important in setting yourself up for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, and those nerfs can be a bit tricky if you don't get the timing just right and know like exactly when you need to do it. I'm real bad at it.
Same. I can get the first one because that's free, but everyone after that, I'm basically just rolling the dice and hoping that I did it right. We did see on JDP's side during his Z fight that he correctly nerfed the second Big Bang. We'll see if Castro goes for more nerfs.
But with only one nuke caster and 3 Zerked characters, I would assume he's probably not going to go for skipping the HP refill either.
I believe you are correct. Got a shake, another good thing coming in. We'll see how much damage this does. Oh.
Yep. Or will
okay.
we?
GG.
GG indeed.
RNCastro86 wrapping it up in 148.33. Looks like we are going to be joined by Castro. Castro, if you can hear us, GG. Congratulations on once again defeating Threemus and saving the Earth.
Thank you, GG's.
GG's indeed.
So Castro looked like a lot of things in this seed hinged on Yang, whether it was the Yangs you added to your party, the Yang you hit with the pan, or the Yang that was the king of the town with monsters. How are you feeling about tackling that problem?
Yeah, there was a bunch of Yang in this seed. It would be that Yang at the Fame Arch is where the Darkness Crystal was, and where I initially attempted and failed to to take him down. But sometimes that's just how it rolls, and hopefully, it was enjoyable for y'all to watch. I hope me running all over the place, trying to do a 17 out of 17 seed was fun to watch.
Oh, we had a great time. That was really entertaining. Not even speaking ironically. That was a really well done race by both of you.
Yeah, that was
that was a really good time you posted. And speaking of that Yang fight, you're right. It was tough. Both runners, in this case, did need multiple attempts to get through it. You were not alone there.
yeah.
Both
of y'all left and came back several times.
Yeah, he was not gonna. He was taking no prisoners, and I thought after I did my first initial grind, whenever after I beat Antlion, that I could do it, but it was just too fast, and I didn't have a white mage at the time, so and Rydia wasn't cutting it, so I just thought, man, I better just go find a white mage again. I couldn't find Cure 3. I imagine I had to be white mage somewhere.
That was going to be my very next question, was your thoughts on the character situation. The white mage was pretty hard to come by. As far as we know, there was just the one available. What were you thinking before you found Borum?
I was thinking Rydia better not give me Life 1 Ashura, because that's very rude, but I don't think I ended up using her that much. But I was prepared to go through the entire seed without a white mage. But it kind of dawned on me that, without a Cure 3, there has to be something somewhere. So I went to go find her, and I found my Porum, and she did everything I needed her to do after that.
Another fun character option you were able to take advantage of was the spoon word. You were able to give Edward that spoon and let him do a lot of damage. Were you excited when you found that spoon to give him?
Oh, definitely. I haven't had the opportunity to use a lot of spoon word, but as soon as what was it? I saw him in the bed at Kaipo pretty early, and I thought, well, I'll never find a spoon. And what do you know? I actually found one, and I thought about not taking him. I had gone down to go and do my grind, and I thought, you know, you never know what's going to happen, and he might end up being the best choice for DPS I had, and that turned out to be correct. And he didn't let me down too often, just a couple times where, you know, his HP, he gets flicked in the nose and he falls. But hey, he did everything I needed him to do.
Yeah, because you had actually checked early on who was in the bed, and then you got the spoon and you got the sand ruby. We were wondering if you were gonna go back for him for like an anchor or to use the spoon.
Oh yeah, definitely spoon. Eddie Anchor is fine, but I lucked into the anchor this time. But Eddie Anchor is fine, but I would rather, if I had a spoon, I'd rather use him as a spoon word for sure.
For sure. It's like, honestly, if you have the opportunity to use spoon word and you don't, like, are you really playing free enterprise the right way?
Exactly.
In most cases, I would say that there is not a right or wrong way to play the randomizer, but this might be one of those times where I have to draw a line. You gotta rock the spoon word. You talked about anchors, actually. That brings up one other fight I wanted to mention. You did a good job overcoming that wyvern at the top of tower, setting up your anchoring. That was actually one place that you were able to clear that JDP was forced to abandon. He just didn't have the setup. What was your strategy once you took that first wipe?
Well, I have a history with Wyvern, most notably at Ogopogo's spot. He likes to destroy me, and so I was determined when I saw him the first time. I'm like, all right, I'm not leaving. I can do this. I can figure something out. So, if I remember right, I put Yang in the middle, put a curse string on, and then I put Edge on the top. Just try to get as much disparity between the agility between the two as possible, and set the battle speed down to 4 and go for it. And it actually worked out. Who would have thought? I wasn't expecting that, but it was fun. I enjoyed trying to figure that puzzle out.
What probably impressed me most in that fight was when you broke out the summon strats. It's something that I always forget about as an option, but when you started casting the self, I immediately realized, like, oh, he's going to do this the best way possible, getting those forced counter mega nukes.
Yeah, that was I was ready for that. I saw him and I'm like, all right, I got Rydia, I got a Sylph summon, so I'm gonna make him blow himself up because I don't think I had the DPS to do it quick enough before he starts throwing nukes out at me. So I'm glad it worked out that way.
So your matches for the group stage are done. You did go 0-3, but fortunately in this format you're not done yet. You'll be heading to the hook rounds. What's your thoughts about going to the hook stage, and do you have anything that you're wanting to focus on as far as your practice moving forward?
Well, as far as the hook route goes, I mean, I'm just gonna play the way I've been playing, and other than one seed, I think most of it was I just can't seem to choose the right option to get me to where I need to go as far as getting my 3 objectives done. But I definitely, if there's something I need to work on, obviously my menuing is atrocious, so I need to work on that. But other than that, I don't want to change my strategy too much, because the moment I do, it'll come and bite me in the butt. So I'd rather just keep going the way I'm going and try to improve on things here and there between now and, a week and a half?
Yeah, thereabouts. I think that's a great mindset, both wanting to stick with strategies you're comfortable with, but at the same time find ways to improve. I think menuing is really a great opportunity to, for whatever reason, when you start improving your menuing, it sort of leaks into everything else. You just feel like you're faster at everything. So for a lot of runners that are looking to improve, I would definitely point them in that direction. I think that's a great call by you. Dijon Ketchup, do you have any other questions for Castor before we head off on a raid?
Huh? No? once again, GG's. And once again, I would like to, give a shout out to Gambit for restreaming, Sheep Launcher for doing the tracking for this. Both JDP and Castro for competing, and to my co-host, Prof. Corey.
Well, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. You're brilliant as always. Look forward to your future casting.